Now we have breaking news. In the last 10 minutes, a judge ruled that 60,000 challenged votes should stand in the contested race for the state Supreme Court.
This is a major development. WRAL's Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie live in downtown Raleigh with this decision as it unfolds here, Laura.
Dan, earlier today, Judge William Pittman in Wake County Superior Court said he didn't rule from the bench. He said he would try to have a decision as quickly as possible. Obviously, he meant it, coming out just moments before 5 o'clock today. In his decision, Judge Pittman looked at all the different categories under which Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin was challenging votes in that still contested judicial race. His conclusion was the court concludes as a matter of law that the board's decision was not in violation of constitutional provisions. So what that means is that he is upholding the State Board of Elections' decision to dismiss Jefferson Griffin's complaints and that bid to get rid of those ballots. Now, the next step is very likely that this will be appealed to the State Court of Appeals and will probably go to the state Supreme Court before it's all over. My colleague Chelsea Donovan is out in front of that Wake County Courthouse with some of the perspectives from the folks who lined up there this morning.
Yeah, Laura, as you saw this morning, there were hundreds of protesters waiting outside. They could not get a seat inside. Many of Riggs's protesters called Griffin's claims baseless and absurd. And Griffin, basically, his supporters said that many folks have broken their election laws and folks couldn't verify their identities. Obviously, in the last few minutes, you notice that the judge ruled against him. Take a listen to some of the sights and the sounds that we captured today outside of the Wake County Courthouse.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
Protesters gather in droves outside of the Wake County Courthouse as 10 floors up, Republican Jefferson Griffin and Democrat Allison Riggs go head-to-head again in a never-ending battle for a Supreme Court seat.
I just think it's pretty absurd and just an attack on democracy.
Meggs early voted in Durham, then got a letter in the mail from the GOP.
Well, at first, frankly, I thought it was a scam.
Griffin appeared to have lost his 2024 campaign to unseat Democratic Supreme Court Justice Allison Riggs by a razor-thin margin of just 734 votes, according to multiple recounts. But Griffin says 60,000 voters, including Meggs, shouldn't have voted, and others violated laws.
These are issues that we raised prior to the elections, concerns that we had with the state board.
Griffin's legal challenge, while backed by the GOP, is criticized by voters.
I showed my voter ID when I went to vote, and apparently my mistake this year was using the laws afforded to me to vote early.
Griffin is challenging some military and overseas voters over alleged rule violations, as well as many more people whose identifying information is missing from the state database.
Every vote counts. Just go ahead and concede.
Riggs addressed the crowd after the 2-hour hearing, but Griffin declined.
No matter how long this takes, I am committed to upholding the rule of law.
And she didn't have to wait very long. Obviously, Judge Pittman issuing a very speedy ruling in this case. We have yet to hear from Jefferson Griffin. We know that he plans to appeal. Our Capitol team has done extensive, in-depth investigative work on this, and you can find an entire timeline and all of their stories right now on WRAL.com. Live in Raleigh, Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.